Okay, here's one for you. This is something I've thought a lot about for decades. When are you old enough to make your own life decisions? And I know where you think I'm probably going down this, what path I'm probably going down here. And you're right to an extent. We have kind of laws, at least in the United States and Canada where I grew up. Like Canada, you had to be 18 to vote, to drink, to smoke. In the States, it used to be 18 in a lot of places for all that stuff. Now it's 18 to vote. Most places are 21 to drink. I'm not sure for smoking. I've never been a smoker, other than a cigar here and there, but I think it's 21. Now, first off, a side note there. If you are old enough to serve your country in war, you should be old enough to buy a beer. Either make it all 21 or make it all 18, and I don't care which one. But don't say you're an adult at 18 and then say, well, there's certain things you can't do. All or nothing. That's my opinion. You could disagree if you want. Now, obviously, I've done a lot of videos talking about, my LDS upbringing, my Mormon mission. So obviously I'm going to talk about baptism at 8 years old, but I'm going other places with this too. It's not just that. The LDS Church says at 8 years old, it's your choice. You get to make your decision. Well, I had my son on last week. We had a discussion, and that was one of the questions I asked him. Do you remember being baptized? Because he was the last of our kids to get baptized. The two youngest never did. And also, I really appreciate all of those of you that are like, you really need to come back to the church. I hope you find your way back. Oh, we'd love to have you back. I appreciate that. I really do. I don't see it happening. Never say never. I don't see that happening. I'm a happy guy. I kind of feel like I felt about a mission, and I used to think this, why am I out here pushing this on people? And I kind of feel like that. Most of you are very respectful and nice about it, but once in a while there's somebody who's like, you're kind of an idiot to have left the church, and what's wrong with you, and this is the truth. And see, that's part of the problem I always had, was this is the only truth. I can't deal with that. That's a subject for another time. But I just wanted to let you know that I appreciate your concern for me and my soul, but I'm in a good place. I really am. I'm, for the most part, a happy guy. Got a great family, got a great life. And somebody said the other day that you're not even Christian, you're a Scandinavian pagan or heathen or whatever they called me. I would definitely consider myself Christian. I believe in God, and I know Jesus, at least I believe Jesus was a man that walked on the earth and probably was the Son of God. I don't know that for sure. I don't know how I could know. And now some of you will say, well, just pray. I did all that, my friends. I did all that. I went through it. I've told you about reading my journals and praying endlessly for something to happen. Let us in a door. Let something happen. Anyway, back to the choosing. My son was like, well, at 8 years old, I was just a little kid having fun. It was a cool day because it was all focused on me. That's what he liked about it. He remembers feeling a little awkward being behind at the particular place where he got baptized. There was a big glass plate window, and then the baptismal font was behind it. Ow! Guys with mustaches, you ever do that? By the way, there's another guy that comes on, and he's always commenting on my pop. Now, most of the time when I have those big cups, it's just water. I do like a Coke now and then, a Mountain Dew now and then. I don't drink a ton of pop, but I like it. I'm not really sure why you care what I'm drinking, but so back to the baptism. He thought it was kind of cool because it was about him, but he didn't really know what was going on. And I remember my day when I was 8, and as far as choosing, I'll tell you what would have happened. If I'd have told my dad, I choose not to get baptized. we'd have had a talk. We'd have had a long talk, and eventually I'd have seen his way. Guaranteed, there was no choice. Maybe some of you grew up in families where they'd be like, well, you're 8, you're right, you're of age now, you can make your own decisions. Go have a cigarette and a beer and whatever else you want, you're 8 years old. I think it's silly. Now, I'm not saying baptism is silly. Don't put words in my mouth. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying an 8-year-old is old enough to choose and make a life decision like that is insane. And here's another one that I think is crazy. This might get me in a little trouble. That's okay. I believe this strongly. I don't believe children should be given crazy drugs or have crazy surgeries, and you know where I'm going with this. I don't have to spell it out. If you want to do that kind of stuff once you're an adult, do whatever makes you happy. I would never try to stop somebody that is unhappy with who they are. But leave kids alone. And I'm hardcore on that. And if you don't like me for that, that's okay. I can deal with that. I think most of you agree with me that if you're a 12, 13, 14-year-old boy or girl that is confused and somebody talks you into cutting body parts off and things like that, I'm sorry. That's child abuse. I don't care what anybody thinks. Europe has pulled way back on this. Way back on it. All kinds of doctors are like, this is crazy. There's no scientific evidence to back this up, and I'm sure some of you will argue with me. That's fine. Bring it on. You will never convince me of that. If an 18-year-old can't go buy a cigarette, can't go buy a beer, a 17-year-old can't vote, but they can choose to mutilate and chop up their body. And like I said, if you want to do that when you're 18, 21, whatever we decide an adult is, I wouldn't even try to stop you. I wouldn't even argue against you. Do whatever makes you happy. I know there are a lot of people that are doing these type of surgeries that later regret it and are having massive psychological problems. I know this is kind of a risky subject to talk about. I don't care. Like I said, if you think it's okay to do that, then we are never going to agree on a lot of things because we are just two different belief systems. For the most part, when somebody disagrees with me, especially politically, I would never call them evil. Now, if they do evil things, I'll call them evil, but because you vote a different way than I vote, I would never look at you and say, you're an evil person because you voted for so-and-so. No. But if you're for mutilating kids, especially young kids, I'm talking 11, 12-year-old kids, that's nuts. I won't apologize for that. I won't back off on that. And if it gets me in trouble, so be it. I will deal with that. If you want to have an honest conversation about it, if you want to respectfully tell me why you think that's a good decision, I will read your comment. Like I said, you will never convince me of that. Never, ever, ever. I don't know how you could possibly say that it's okay for a child to do that to themselves, but they can't do so many other things. You have to be an adult, or you have to have an adult with you, or you have to have an adult's permission. So far enough down that road, I could go a lot farther. And no matter what you think, even after that spiel, you'll be like, well, he's this politically, or he's this politically. You're wrong. You're probably wrong. Maybe you guessed right, but odds are you're not. I am not a fan of politicians on any side. I haven't been for a long time. It's all changed in the last 30 years. We used to have civil conversations. I know I've drifted off subject again. I do that. You either dig this type of conversation or you don't, and I understand if you don't. I am not everybody's cup of tea. Don't claim to be. Some of you seem to enjoy the dialogue, the discussion. Some of you don't, but you still watch, which thank you. I appreciate it. You know, if you disagree with me and you still watch my channel, thanks. I really do. I'm not being sarcastic there. I'm being sincere. Thank you. I do appreciate it. But I would love to hear some of your opinions, because I know there are a lot of, and now listen, I've had many active LDS people come and comment on this channel, and they've been super nice, super supportive. Just couldn't be nicer. I want to give that back. I hope I don't come across, a couple people have said, well, this is an anti-LDS channel. That couldn't be further from the truth. It's just not. Sorry, there's a hornet right here. It's just not true. My dad is the person I respect most in this whole world, and he's as active as you can be. He believes so strongly in the Mormon Church. I wouldn't want to change his mind. I would never try to change his mind. We have religious discussions all the time, and this is one of them that we talked about. When, I said, Dad, in fact, we just had this discussion a couple months ago when he was here. What would have happened if I had said when I turned 8, you know what, I don't think baptism's for me. I think I'll hold off, maybe someday. He hummed and hawed a lot, but he knew what the answer was. I was going to be baptized. All his kids were going to be baptized. There was no question there. It was not a choice. Like I said, there might be some LDS families that are like, okay, you're 8, you get to choose. I think most kids that are in an active Mormon family are going to choose, because that's their life. That's who they are. I was a Mormon kid. I was in the Mormon Church. I was a happy guy. I say this a lot, and I'll keep saying it because I want this point to get across. I am not unhappy that I grew up LDS. I'm not unhappy that I went on a Mormon mission. I had many unhappy days on that Mormon mission. Many sad, depressing, lonely, boring days. In fact, that's one of the themes I keep seeing, because all we did was knock on doors. That's all we did. And just the boredom of it, just over and over. And you go out with high hopes every day, thinking, speaking of choices, there's another choice. Okay, I was 18 years old when I put my papers in. I went on my mission when I was 19. I think you can go when you're 18 now. It was my choice, but if I didn't feel pressure from my ward, from my family, from some friends, there's a really good chance I wouldn't have gone. I had two brothers that didn't go. 3 of us went. I had another brother that died when he was a baby 50 some years ago. I hope I get to see him in the next life, and I believe that I will. His name was Richard, and he was the first child born in Canada outside of Norway. I go to his grave every year when I go up to Canada, every year. And I talk to him like I'm talking to my brother, which I am. Forgot what I was talking. Oh, choosing to go on a mission. Yes, technically I chose to go on a mission. But there was a lot of, whether it was pressure from within, feeling like there was all this pressure, or if it was actual pressure from without, or a combination. I can't really say. That was 44 years ago. But like I said, I don't live my life with regrets for the most part. There are a few things I wish I'd have done different, but I don't regret that I went to Norway on a mission. There are at least as many good things that came out of that as the sad, depressing, demoralizing, I talked about. It's so funny because I was just watching another YouTube video about somebody talking about this. By the way, somebody commented on my last video, the only reason you get any views is because you have Mormon in the title. Thanks for the advertising. Okay, fair enough. I've said I have tried to do many videos about different things, and I will keep doing that. I'm not stuck on just this. But I'm going where the channel is leading me, and the channel is leading me this way. It's not, my videos that I put out talking about other things, telling stories, which I'm going to keep doing because I enjoy them, they get, a few hundred or maybe 1,000 views. I start doing these about my experiences. They're my experiences, by the way. For the most part, I'm not talking about doctrine. I mean, I do bring that up from time to time, but mostly it's about my experiences in the church, and it's my channel, and it's my story. So that's what I know, and that's what I see people like watching. So I will keep doing that as long as you keep watching them. But yeah, I didn't really feel like I had a choice to go on a mission. Now, I was going to choose not to. I think if they'd have left it at 2 years, that seemed like forever to me. They changed it to 18 months, and it was like they changed it for me. Because I was like, okay, 18 months, that doesn't sound so bad when you're 18 years old. And then, of course, I got drafted into the military in Norway, and they wanted me to serve another 18 months there, and that whole thing. I did a video about that a little while ago if you're interested in that. So, okay, we'll leave it there. We'll keep this one a little bit shorter. Let me know what you think about choices. When are we old enough to choose? My personal opinion here, and this is not law, and I could maybe get talked off of this, I think most things, as far as just making serious life decisions, voting, I would put at 25 years old. I know what I was like at 18, 19, 20. I thought I knew everything. And if you're watching this and you're that age, you probably think the same thing. We all do. But you learn as you get older that we're just constantly learning. I'm learning new things every day. And I think life would be boring if we weren't learning new things. My youngest son, Cooper, who's 25, we have pretty deep discussions sometimes. And in fact, we were just golfing this morning, and I don't even remember what he said. And I said, I didn't know that. And it was something pretty basic, like not life change, but just something where I was like, I didn't know that. I've been around this long and I didn't know it. So keep chasing knowledge, keep chasing your dreams. I'm older now, but I haven't given up on dreams. I've still got lots of dreams. God willing, I'll achieve some of those with some hard work and some effort and some faith. And yes, I still believe in the concept of faith. So those of you that are trying to save me, I appreciate it. But I'm good. I'm happy. And all right. Yeah, we'll end it there. Takk for denne gang. Vi snakkes igjen. Look forward to reading your comments. Thank you so much, those of you who subscribe and share and comment. I really appreciate it. I dig y'all. Peace. Love.